Balochistan remains relevant, not just in the regional connectivity aspect, the energy aspect, but more importantly for Pakistan's blue economy standpoint. There's an old Chinese saying, if you want to become rich, build roads, including Khabar 5 and Khabar 6, which is linking our ports with Central Asian countries. I also would request the private sector to look at CPEC in a more business oriented, more profitable manner, because all these sectors, livestock, dairy, they are evolving. It should be part of our trade and export policy. It should be part of our free trade agreements with some of the countries which consume this.
Assalamu alaikum and a very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host Faiza Zafar and I welcome you all from the platform of Khabarkada. Balochistan, Pakistan's province, which is the largest by area, possesses immense economic potential and has a lot of significance when it comes to geostrategic location. Its potential with regards to natural resources and also has a lot of other untapped opportunities. Positioned at the crossroads of South Asia, Central Asia, and the Middle East, it has the capacity to become the major engine for not just national but also regional economic growth. It is also a substantiated fact that Gwadar will connect 3 billion people across the world. To have a deeper conversation in this regard, we have a very pertinent guest with us today who is going to be talking about the potential of Balochistan and the obstacles that are coming on our way to actually tap these opportunities. We have Mr. Dr. Hassan Daud Saab. Thank you so much, sir, for being on our show. Dr. Hassan Daud Saab is a renowned Chinese investment expert. He is one of the Pakistan's leading voices who speaks on China-Pakistan economic issues. He has also been the spokesperson from the government side on CPEC Secretariat, and also he brings first-hand experience in economic planning, regional connectivity, industrial development, and Pakistan-China cooperation. He is also the CEO for Khabar Board of Investment, and his insights on Balochistan's economic potential, investment opportunities, and sustainable development make him, a very invaluable voice in today's era. Sir, thank you so much again for being on the show. Sir, my first question would be that Balochistan is considered as the economic future for Pakistan. In that regard, what is your perspective?
Yeah, Faiza, thank you. Thank you for having me. I think this is in the past 14 years that I've been associated with CPEC. This is the first live digital broadcast that I'm having on Balochistan, and especially at a national level. So that's very important, and also in English language, because it's very important that we voice the true aspect, the true beauty, the true shades and colors of each province, but more importantly, Balochistan, because there's some say that the province has been deprived from national agenda and discussion. So thank you for having me, and congratulations for having this podcast.
Sure, pleasure.
Yeah, so on the issue of Balochistan, I think Balochistan lies more importantly, and while the Middle East crisis is happening, lies in the middle of energy rich and energy hungry countries. And it's not just on the east and west corridor, it's also on the north and south part. Because on the west, we have the Middle Eastern countries with Strait of Hormuz, much spoken about Strait of Hormuz now. The energy rich Middle Eastern countries, including Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar, Oman. And also on the east, we have countries like China, India, and others who are, industry hub now and are exporting a lot of stuff. So therefore, they need a lot of energy to be imported from Middle East. Similarly, in Central Asian countries, though they have their energy resources, but they need their goods and services to be exported through the Indian Ocean, the warm Indian Ocean. So therefore, Gwadar remains a very important place, and therefore there are a lot of incentives and initiatives that are being done, including China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, including Khabar 5 and Khabar 6, which is linking our ports with Central Asian countries, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, Azerbaijan. And now we have this brotherly relation, which is improving in the current government also. There are a lot of back and forth movement of leadership from political side also, military, otherwise, academic also. So this engagement is expanding. So therefore,
Yeah.
Balochistan remains relevant, not just in the regional connectivity aspect, the energy aspect, but more importantly for Pakistan's blue economy standpoint. Pakistan has been in the past so many decades has been under economic crisis one way or the other,
Yeah.
the boom and bust cycle. So we need innovative ideas, out of box solutions, and one of the low hanging solution is the blue economy of
Yeah,
Pakistan.
you have touched upon blue
Yeah,
economy, and I think we'll have a detailed
sure,
conversation later on this,
sure.
sir. But for now, we started off that the minerals and the natural resources of this region are very much famous. But are we really, what do you call, tapping this market when it comes to natural resources like copper, zinc, lithium, rare earth minerals, and and now we see there is a debate going on at global level that people are where countries are really much interested in mining in Balochistan. So are we exploiting it really in an adequate manner or not yet?
For a country to become and remain economically sustainable, stable, it's very important that they tap their, natural endowment, whether it's in agriculture sector, livestock sector, and we talk about this also, blue economy, as I said, and also mines and mineral sector. There's a huge potential, and you've named some of the resources that we have there, and it's very important and critical that we tap those, and the only method of tapping those is to create their regional connectivity, the roads, the highways, which take them and provide you access there, and also digital connectivity to this. I'm glad that recently the government has placed mine and mineral sector as one of the key sectors, not just in terms of economic development but also under CPEC. It's one of the active sectors in CPEC 2.0. But for all of this to happen, we need to build our capacity, human resource that is capable to work there. We need to identify the true potential of resources. Like I can say there's huge iron ore or copper ore, but
Yeah.
what is the known reserve? That's very important. And that critical data using GIZ sources, using technology, using space technology, we need to have that data, make data banks around that, and then of course use that for our own advantage. We can have foreign direct investment. We have had Sandeg, we have had Recodec. These are
Yeah.
great projects happening in Balochistan.
Yeah.
Again, for this, you need to provide security umbrella
Yeah.
around these projects, build human resource capacity which can work there, and then leverage from this standpoint. But as far as your point is concerned, huge potential. It's just that we need to build connectivity, and one of the incentives and initiatives that we have is CPEC. We can build rural urban synergy. We build one from from Hakla to DI Khan,
Yeah.
connecting those rural areas, and it benefited two SEZs under Fatma, under Sapphire Group. They were constructed there, and therefore this, there's an old Chinese saying: if you want to become rich, build roads. So if you
Yeah.
want to extract and explore this sector, you have to build
Regional
connectivity.
connectivity is very
Yes.
important. Sir, there's another sector which is livestock. Uh, there's a Baloch saying that God is God and sheep is sheep. So they say that this particular segment holds a lot of importance when it comes to camels, goats, sheep, and livestock. How do we? How? What is the current? I mean, strategy of the government with that regard? Are we actually maximizing that potential as well?
I think for first of all, for province like Balochistan and KP, livestock is an important area because our per capita consumption of meat and is much higher than many other parts of the world, and therefore for our own domestic requirement and also for exporting this, because in China there's as they're getting economically prosperous, there's a great requirement for protein, for carbohydrates, and for livestock products to be exported there. But so far, we have not been able to actually utilize this sector. We not just that our per capita availability of livestock is less, we have not been able to harness economic zones or agriculture zones or livestock zones where the breeding of such products can happen, where you can have international standard slaughterhouses, where you can have these meat packaging done
Yeah.
and then exported, because countries are careful about what they import. They have their standards, regulations.
Yeah.
So far we have not been able to meet those requirements. We have not been able to meet those requirements in dairy products, also milk. We
Yeah.
have huge potential in milk, but we have not been able to. So I think the government needs to focus on this
The
sector
legal
also,
compliance and
the legal
everything.
compliance, and also setting up zones
Yeah.
where you can't just transform the entire province or entire region. You need to have this pocket of excellence
Absolutely.
where you can build that infrastructure, provide utilities, build up human resource there, and then use them not just for export purposes but also for R&D purposes also.
Yeah.
Because all these sectors, livestock, dairy, they are evolving. The consumption is increasing, the demands are changing. Younger
Rapidly.
generation looks at it in a different way, older look at it in a different way. So each group of people have their own demand and requirements. And then of course China consumes it in a different way,
Every
perhaps.
country has
And then halal meat,
yeah.
huge market for that.
Absolutely.
Malaysia, Indonesia, even in China, there is a huge demand for halal
Yeah.
meat.
Even
So I
for
think we've
Europe.
not been able. We've spoken about it a lot. We've spoken about this in SIFC platform, other platform,
Yeah.
but I think its practical manifestation has happened, and I think Balochistan offers that opportunity. We just have to work and leverage that.
Yeah, sir, the Balochistan has also got a huge potential in marine fishing,
Hmm.
and the capacity is around $500 million that could potentially reach to $100 billion. So, what could really be done at a policy level? What is your advice in that regard? Especially
I
because
was in.
sorry to interrupt, sir. There is this entire region like Southeast Asia. If we talk about majority of the countries, their economy is flourishing because of fishing industry. So we need to take certain, what do you call, good initiatives from their side and implement in Pakistan, maybe.
Yeah, I was in Urumqi recently, and one of the local restaurant, because it's a Muslim. The community is largely Muslim. So I went to this restaurant, and the owner of the restaurant introduced that the fish that you're eating is from Gwadar, because
Wow.
the quality of shrimps, prawns, even the fishery products is good. Again, the issue of sanitary, phytosanitary packaging, all this impacts your export to them. There's a huge potential. We need to regulate within Pakistan also how this fishing activity takes place. We do not want more foreign trawlers coming here and taking away all the catch. We need our local
Yeah.
fishermen to benefit from that, and then making this as a true industry. And this should be part of our industrial policy. It should be part of our trade and export policy. It should be part of our free trade agreements with some of the countries which consume this and import this. And again, the human resource matters also. Our fishermen, our yield is much lesser as compared to many other countries. Our boats, our vessels that are used for fishing activities are old age. The technology used there
Obsolete.
in order to identify, in big countries, large trawlers, they use sonars to detect where these pool of fishes are. And then of course the governments of those countries, and even here also, we regulate which season to, because these are living beings in one
Yeah.
way.
They
So
have to
which
survive.
season it should not be done during their breeding season and otherwise
Yeah.
also. So there's a huge market around that. The capacity is brilliant. The demand is there. China wants to import so much of it. We can use the CPEC corridor for exporting it. But then again, we need to use more better, robust, sustainable industrial setup for making this important industry, because at the end of the day it is all about profit. If the
Yeah.
businessman makes profit, and there's a potential of making profit out of this industry. So
Yeah.
fishing is an overall
The foreign
aquamarine.
investment also relies
the
on, such
the
factors.
the aquamarine products,
Yeah.
shrimps, fish,
Prawns.
prawns, And likewise, I'll give you an example, and I'll relate this with China also. In China, there are agriculture sector like rice sector, for instance, which is water intensive. So what they do is that in rice field, they while they pump water there, in the roots on around that area where there is water, they also farm shrimps, small
Ah,
shrimps. So on the upper part where there is sunlight, you have the rice field, and in the lower part you have the
wow.
shrimps being farmed. So you can use that and learn from our friends, and therefore I'm
Absolutely.
glad that agriculture sector is now part of CPEC 2.0.
Sir, security remains one of the biggest challenges when it comes to, investment and economic prosperity. Organizations like TTP, BLA, and all these banned terrorist organizations have been causing the unrest in Balochistan for quite some time. You might be hearing news that every day people are dying, our law enforcement agencies representatives are being martyred on routine basis. Sir, how is that being catered by the government side? And also you have noticed, and it was in the news that Chinese officials are also being targeted, of course, to avoid this, to stop this investment in entire CPEC oriented initiative. So how is government really looking for to cater that serious crisis?
One thing is for sure, even our enemies or not so friendly countries and nations, they are aware how important CPEC is, what is the transformational impact that CPEC and BRI can have, our connectivity with China have. So they look
Yeah,
always looking for targets which can disturb this, which can have a negative impact on our relationship with great friend and brothers in China.
yeah.
So the government has actually established a special security division. So far, no incident, alhamdulillah, has happened against CPEC projects. They have
Okay.
been well guarded. There have been incidents around Chinese, but those were not essentially CPEC projects.
Okay, perfect,
But
thank you.
overall, the environment can be improved in terms of narrative also, the
Yeah.
security narrative, and that can only be improved if you have a community based approach. So for example, any project like you spoke about fishermen, so if you are working on those projects on the higher level, the government can work, but on the lower level you can involve the community and their leaders to, in the mining sector also, the tribe also, to come and give us directions and involve them. This participatory impact can have long lasting impact on the security, and the people would know. And then of course, creating jobs and opportunities, because if you are idle at home, you will have all the bad ideas to do.
Yeah.
So if you're working, making money, I think that's a great opportunity.
And sir, you
And
talked about narrative building. Unfortunately, we have also been witnessing this, that our neighbor, or there is some fake propaganda on digital platforms that, oh, Chinese have been killed. And thank you for clarifying that the ground reality has been different. So how do we cater that as well, on social media where anybody can talk about anything?
our approach towards narrative has been very reactionary. We are never proactive in taking stance, even in print media and even in digital media. We react to instances.
Yeah.
What should happen is that we should, like this program, I'm saying that a program on Balochistan on digital media in English is I've never heard something like that, unless there is an incident in Balochistan, and then we can get together and speak about
Yeah,
security
unfortunately.
and but on an overall wholesome approach, a top-down approach towards Balochistan, this is the first one I've. So
I'm
therefore, I
glad, sir.
mean, this is we should have more like these. We
Conversations.
should have open conversation. We should have candid conversation in Urdu, in Balochi language.
Yeah.
Go, sit in Balochistan, and we are having that. But the frequency, the size, the impact should grow, and I think we should work on Balochistan as the pillar of our overall economic and growth agenda for 2030, and 2047, even our
Mhm.
100 years. Pakistan is going to be 100 years. Our population is growing, so is the population of Balochistan. So we need to create opportunities each year. By 2047 there will be 5 million new job entrants in market every year.
Absolutely.
That's an opportunity, but that can become a crisis if we do not create jobs and industrial setups for them to go and work. So
Absolutely,
I
yes.
think narrative uh, is very reactionary. We have to have a proactive approach.
Approach, yes.
Keep talking about it
Yeah,
and keep talking all the time. It's not just
there should
how
be
we talk.
consistency.
It should be consistent.
Yeah,
It should be top down. It should be
very
more
nice.
discussion in parliament, in all government media platforms, private media platforms. Sometimes it does not become makes an economic impact to talk about Balochistan all the time. Perhaps talk about security all the time.
Yeah,
So talk about negative things all the time. But I
yeah,
think from this we can
yeah.
identify the opportunities and then move towards that.
Absolutely, sir. Pakistan has been climatically vulnerable countries in the top, 4 to 5 countries in the world, and that also gives us an opportunity where climate resilience is something we can actually engrave in our projects in
Hmm.
Balochistan. Sir, what do you think about the renewable energy, the green infrastructure? Is it being integrated in Balochistan's development projects?
Uh, First of all, before we move into the climate impact, there are other things that people want, like water,
Yeah,
like electricity for itself. Gwadar and Lasbela district, there's scarcity of water there. But now the government is working on that. There is some desal plant set up under CPEC. There's the one desal plant which is there in the Gwadar port, which some of it is being provided to the city. The overall requirement for water is going to be 6 million gallons per day, perhaps by 2030, which is very near, 4 years. So therefore, we need to find out resources to work on these high impact. When you people have water, when they have electricity, when they have jobs, then the security is becomes not the prime issue. It becomes a
yeah,
minimal issue during the discussions because
absolutely.
people are well fed, their food, their fish to eat, have crop to do agriculture
Harness,
upon.
yes.
Yeah. So therefore, I think these aspect is there. The climate change, the government has now recently announced a renewable energy project there. Although there is a 300 megawatt coal fired plant, but that's now, it appears that it's in the back burner and more renewable energy projects. The government of China has provided some home base solar units with one fan, one light, sort of through their grant also.
Nice.
uh, in any government projects, environment consideration or environment protection is one
Yes,
of the important aspect that is being,
absolutely.
and now it's becoming more important, taking more center stage in discussion. So
Okay.
Gwadar, I hope when the port develops, when there's more shipping and fishing, we do not deal it as we've been dealing in Karachi. Karachi, the water is polluted. The situation is not as good as it should be. We need to clean those. And there are now ways and means, technology available, much cheaper, Chinese technology,
Yes.
which we can use, learn from China. Shanghai is so clean. Qingdao, Dalian,
Yeah.
beautiful port. Even Guangzhou, which is so busy, 100 times more busy than Karachi, but still it is clean, well
Yeah.
preserved, because these are natural beauties and natural endowments that we need to preserve.
And I think, unfortunately, sir, our people also need to, even if they are educated, I see people that they are littering openly and they have a sense, but they don't really do it. Sir, there's another aspect, digital connectivity, that leads to the economic prosperity. How can Balochistan really leverage through digital literacy?
I think a for any areas where the access is not there, there's less road. If we can have digital connectivity, provide access to common people
Mm.
for, say, vocational training,
Yeah,
online vocational training, online education, I think it can help meaningfully and immensely. But whether we have the resources, whether we have the desire to do that, it needs to be seen. I think the optical fiber connectivity from Khunjarab to all the way to Gwadar, if that materializes, perhaps in next 2 years, then access to digital connectivity will be there. And perhaps because for doing trade also now you need digital connectivity, you need
absolutely.
VBox to work, you need ports and port crossing and border crossing to have a robust digital connectivity or 24/7 digital connect seamless. If that does not happen, and if your 4Gs are as good as 2Gs, and 5G is
Yeah.
as less as any other, and especially in vulnerable areas, then perhaps I think we need to improve that.
Yeah, but
And I
if
think
we work
more
on it, then I
just
think,
importantly, this is one sector where private sector can play an important role.
yeah,
And I think government should do some hand holding, provide them incentives to go in remote areas
yes.
to build this accessibility.
Absolutely, and I think that can really make a great
Yeah.
impact. Sir, my last question would be that if you would have any top three recommendations for the government with regards to Balochistan and exploiting that economically, that region. So, what that would be for you from your end?
And I'll take religious aspect from this.
Sorry.
Religious aspect of answering to your question. So
Ah,
in terms of incentives, whatever you, as your religion also tells you, whatever you promise, you need to deliver. Whether you're making promises with public or you're making promises
bilkul.
with your investors.
Absolutely.
So on the government standpoint, provide SEZs, provide utilities to these SEZs, provide lesser framework around investment. Lesser framework means that we should not be over-regulated. So that's my first request to the government. And I also would request the private sector to look at CPEC in a more business-oriented, more profitable manner, because there's a lot of areas within CPEC 2.0, like agriculture, like marine, like fisheries, like
Livestock,
tourism,
tourism.
yeah, and digital connectivity. These are
Yeah,
areas where private sector can come and connect with Chinese investors, because Chinese investors need joint venture partners in Pakistan, because that mitigates a lot of their risk, security risk, human resource risk, regulatory risk. So if they can
absolutely.
partner with a strong Chinese enterprise, our businessmen, I think that's a way to go for going. Largely, we should have sectoral approach. Identify four sector in first phase, and then in second phase others. Work on those provide incentive, provide infrastructure, provide human resource in those sectors, and then move forward. If you have this all size fit of, if you look at website of all board of investment provincial, everyone is selling livestock, everyone is talking about agriculture, everyone is talking about manufacturing. I think we should identify which province, like for GB Mokpandas, it should be more about tourism sector. It should be more about pharma sector. For AJK, maybe more around agriculture again. Then Punjab manufacturing. KP can identify its own, and then as a whole, some economic structure we should move for.
Sir, I really hope that government takes your
I
recommendations.
hope so.
Thank you so much, sir, for your time and for such an insightful conversation.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Um, Listeners, it is an undeniable fact that Balochistan possesses all the ingredients necessary for sustainable and inclusive economic transformation. Its rich mineral resources, strategic maritime location, renewable energy potential, CPAC connectivity, tourism assets, and agriculture strengths basically position the province as a future economic powerhouse with sustained investment, improved governance, enhanced security, and inclusive policy that ensure local participation as well as equitable benefit sharing. Balochistan can emerge as a cornerstone of Pakistan's long term stability and prosperity. Thank you very much.